Welcome back to the SC Halfback podcast. I'm your host, Matt Namoski. Welcome to another off-season pod. Again, sticking with the team picker, came out yesterday. Been on it quite a bit today, but today I wanted to talk about the dual position. So we touched on it yesterday. There's quite a few dual positions that have been removed, but just how dire is it? Do we have options? And what is it compared to last year? So let's jump right into it. You guys can see if you are watching on YouTube. Obviously, we'll talk out as well for the podcast. So we're at the hookers right now. On the filter, let's just go straight to DPP only. So there's only 7 hookers that are eligible with a dual this year. So only 2 have an average over 40 from last season, that being Phoenix Crossland and Ray Stone. 2 guys you think would probably be off the bench this year. So hookers very dire. There's no one over 50, 2 over 40. They're both off the bench this year. The other options, Havili, Grant, Garlick, Lawton, Watson, bench at best. So I think for hooker this year with the duels, we're probably not going to get anyone. We're hoping maybe for a round 6, round 12 update there, but hooker's looking pretty big. It looks like if you're going to pick a hooker, he's going to be a genuine out and out hooker. I don't think any of these guys. Maybe Crossland in a deep league. You just hope that maybe he can get that starting spot. But yeah, especially for classic for draft, there's no one at hooker in the DDP situation. Let's go to front row forward. 35 players have dual for the front row forward. Now, to put it into a bit of context, only 14 of those 35 averaged over 40 points last season. So quite a bit of a dip, and only 7 of those were over 50. So as you can see here, we've got our top 7 here that average over 50. So obviously Tino is the dual. You have Mitch Barnett, Jack DeBellin, Jake Trbojevic, Ruben Cotter, Nelson Asafa Solomona, and Alex Twal. So look, I do think these guys in different points in the draft will be a bit of commodities. I think Tino, been saying it all year. I think this is a first round guy, especially now that a couple of these key guys have lost their duel. I think Barnett and DeBellin are going to be very nice mid round picks. And then Travojevic, Cotter, Nelson, and even Twal towards the end of the draft. I think those guys will have some value. Having a 50 averaging player that can switch between those 2 positions. So I do suspect those guys to feature prominently in some draft leagues. Let's go to the 2RF. 52 players. So this is the biggest position. Out of those 52, 21 averaged over 40 and only 10 averaged over 50. So again, you look at it, Tino is the jewel, Barnett, DeBellin, they were already spoke about in the front row forwards. Tyrone Peachy maybe won't get in first grade this season. We'll have to look at that. Jack Bird, always a bit of an injury risk. Dylan Lucas potentially won't get into first grade there. Then you got Jake Jurojevich, Ruben Cotter. With Nelson and Twal. So again, very similar guys. So those 7 guys we spoke on in the last one, they're going to be really the cream of the crop. Jack Bird's a bit of a wild card. Is he going to play edge? Is he going to play center? He's also got that CTW 2RF that we all love. So Jack Bird might be a bit of a reach in some leagues just because they want to try and grab that. The halfbacks, 12 halfback duels. Out of those 12, 6 averaged over 40 last year, only 3 over 50. And as you can see there, the 3 key ones in this position, Matt Burton, Luke Brooks, Luke Keary. A couple of guys that won't feature, Jonah Pizzette, Jock Madden, Drew Hutchison there as well. Braden Trindle and Jaden Sullivan are interesting ones. I think they will be some options as we go forward. Then you got Milford, Wishart, Atkinson, and then Aiden Caesar. So again, not really much besides Burton and Brooks. I think there will be a bit of Keary love this year with depending on how the Roosters go. But I really do think Burton and Brooks is the cream of the crop there. Moving in a 5'8". This is the one I wanted to talk about because we're always trying to find that 5'8" position, what we can do with it. 19 joules available, 11 averaged over 40. But let's look at the true picture here. Just going down the list here. So Cody Nikorima probably bench at best. Burton, Brooks, and Keary, those guys will start. Dane Laurie, Jonah Pizzette, Jock Madden, maybe not first grade. Phoenix Crossland, Jaden Campbell, bench at best. Braden Trindle, starting. Dylan Walker, bench. So it's really only 3 guys that are going to be starting. The rest of these guys are going to be either reserve grade or off the bench. So 5'8" is looking pretty dire for the duel. So like I said, I think there will be a bit of interest on Matt Burton, Luke Brooks, and Luke Keir. I think they will rise up in my next power rankings only because you got guys that can average mid 50s to high 60s, mid 50s to high 50s that you can get and obviously share that jewel around. CTW, Only 30. Pretty surprised at that number. 17 that averaged over 40 last season, 10 over 50. So let's go through these guys. Is there any value here? So Suafalongo obviously played the one game there. So let's throw his average out. He may get a bench spot. Ruben Garrick, definite starter. Nick Meaney should be a starter, not sure. Hamiso, definite starter. Cooler, definite starter. Peachy, again, maybe not, won't play. Jack Bird, injury risk, but he will play. Dylan Lucas, not sure. Jordan Rapana will play last season. And then Hayes Perham, unsure that's going to happen there. So really does show you that there isn't a lot of value in the CTW duels this year. There's no one really screaming. If Dylan Lucas gets in a starting edge spot, if Jack Bird can stay healthy on that edge, there's two. There's not much else. I think Ruben Garrick, I had him at number 13 in the latest ranking. Exactly where I think he'll go. He'll be right on the cusp of that first round. That CTW fullback averaging 70. Money. I think Hamiso is going to be another one this year, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then the fullbacks. 23 fullbacks have a dual eligibility. 15 averaged over 40 last season with 9 over 50. Again, it's a mixture. You got guys like Cody Nikarima, Dane Laurie who won't play. You guys like Nick Meaney, Farlongo, not sure what positions they're going to roll with. Then you got guys like Rapana, Kula, Hamiso, and Garrick. So it really does show you that the duels this year, obviously, they started being pretty strict with it last year pre-season. There was a couple just before the season started that got added, and then every 6 rounds, obviously. So I think, once again, they've stripped it all back and gone, we'll add in if we need to. And it's making it pretty tough, especially for drafts, to confirm the value of some of these players. But then in Classic, wanting that flexibility obviously may not be there this season. So who are the top 5 duels? I think it's a pretty clear-cut top 5. I think Tino is the number 1, just because you can lock in 70 in your front row forward 2RF spot. I think Garrick and Hamiso at the fullback CTW spots. Garrick, especially to me, is someone who there's might be a real case now you can put him in the first round with that duel. And then you got the 258s halfbacks, Matt Burton and Luke Brooks. So normally in the drafts, there's always that couple of guys that have dual that go a little bit higher than they should just because of that flexibility. And I really think there's going to be a very big price commodity on these guys this year. Like I said, I think Tino was already a first rounder. This really solidifies he can't fall past the second round. Same with Ruben Garrick. I had Brooks and Burton tapped around round 5, round 6. I think they probably shot up into round 3, round 4 now. And then you've got a guy like Hamiso, who I think is a real fan favorite anyway, but I think he can be a very big candidate to get overdrafted this year. He'll do well, don't get me wrong. He'll might get around that 60 mark, but I just think that, yeah, there's a lot of potential for some reaching because there's, as you can see, there's not many of them. You know, when you kind of flick through guys like Crossland and Cody Nikarima are guys that top those charts, but they won't be there. Guys like Jonah Pizzette, Jock Madden, not going to get a start in first grade. Dane Laurie, Farlongo, Meaney, not sure if they're going to get a start. Then you got obviously the 2 wild cards in this dual race is Jack Bird, Dylan Lucas, 2 genuine guys that can start on the edge. I will mention one, and I will put another version out of my team picker tomorrow. But if we can scroll down here into the CTWs, I really don't mind Jamin Salmon at 317, 2RF CTW. If he can somehow get a spot in this roster now, you'd think that backline's pretty set. The back row is pretty set between Kikau, Preston, and Curran. But something tells me that Jamin Salmon's coming over there for a bit of a purpose. And if he can get 40, 45 potentially on an edge somewhere, spilling through the middle, feeling an injury in the centers, might be a bit of value in Jamin Salmon. So it's one that I'm definitely targeting. 317 can flick between this ETW 2RF. I don't mind that. So one to keep an eye on there. But again, I will come out tomorrow with the first completed version. I have made it. And I'm pretty happy with it. So I'll share that with you guys tomorrow so you can see some of the guys I'm thinking, some of the position groups early on here, pre-Christmas 2023 that I'm looking to maybe throw away to start the season because, as we said yesterday, there's going to be some guns that you want to get in no matter what to hold season long. And I haven't really moved off that. So we'll be back into that one tomorrow. But that's the duels. Like I said, it's pretty interesting where there's not many of them this year. So I think those 5, 6 really, really nice ones, we'll just have to go early in your drafts. I think if you're going to get a guy like Tino and Garrick, it's going to cost you a second round pick, unfortunately. And, you know, Burton and Brooks, you hope to get a little bit of value on this season. Don't think you will. So we'll leave it there. The state of the duels, obviously, they will update this, I think, one more time before the season potentially, and really think that we need it because, like I said, just look at the guys averaging over 40 and average 50, guys who are going to get starting spots this season. Might be looking a bit bleak. But we'll be back tomorrow, guys, with the team picker, and we'll obviously go through. Going to start going through each position just in terms of their prices, who's overpriced, great price, low price, just to kind of start bundling it up now and get some of those thoughts out as well. So thank you guys for listening. Have a great day, and we'll hear from you soon. Cheers.